Okay, I got two medicines today for morning medicine. Guatteria, I don't know, and gunpowder. So Guatteria is a tincture of the dried bark of the plant, with the tree belonging to the Anonaceae family, and it grows in Central South America. Described in 1790 by J.B. Guatteria, which is the guy Guatteria, I don't know, and who came up with discovered it or whatever. And in 1906 by G.F. Gomer, the symptomology was established by Castro in 17 adults of both sexes using 3X and 6X in 1944. So even though 19 something, I don't know when it was, that the Faulkner report, I don't know, the report that John Rockefeller paid for to kind of get rid of all the alternative medicines and bring out the chemical medicines, which Galen, doctor way back when, came up with using chemicals. And it was all to help him, because now if you a lot of the substances that we use, plastics, a lot of things in our medications, all are derivatives of oil, that they use. So plus, there was a lot of money in it. We don't cure you, but we just get you on a pill and you're stuck the rest of your life, and then we make money. So homeopathy, they realize, oh, geez, you give them a little sugar tablet, which doesn't cost much to make. Neither do their medicines, but and the research is very easy. You take it like he did here. He took a 3X and a 6X and gave it to people of both sexes. I don't know how many, it doesn't say. 17 adults, yeah. And when they gave it to them, they got symptoms. They wrote them down. They nullify it. They gave a different medicine or a different substance to kill that medicine, to interrupt the energy of that medicine. And now they know what it's good for. So that's, it's so easy to prove homeopathic. Well, easy for us to prove the homeopathic medicine. Not easy for the person taking it, because some of these symptoms can be quite aggravating. So this was being done even after they basically gave all their money to the allopathic doctors and eliminated the herbal doctors. There was herbal pharmacies, there was homeopathic pharmacies. There still is, and there still was then, but they were minimized. You were caught using homeopathic medicine, you would lose your license. So why? What's that all about? Oh, because it works and yours doesn't, and you got to get rid of it. So these are the grounds for thinking that Guatteria, I guess that's the rest of the name, Guatteria, will take one of the first places among the homeotherapeutic remedies for liver conditions. Alongside the new remedy they came up with, chlorpromazine, which I have here, which is the name is largactil, which is Thorazine. So, good for mental stuff and all that kind of stuff, but obviously that was good for liver stuff too. So, does it cure? Nah, but we did make, oh, let me read. We made a homeopathic medicine out of that drug. That's called tautopathic. Tautopathic? I think. Let me see real quick. I don't have a lot of time for this, but the different when we make a drug out of it, I think they call it tautopathic, elemental, herbal, fundamental, homeopathic. Here we go. Intercurrent infusions. Huh, what the heck is it? Anyways, there's a name they got. I'm pretty sure it's tautopathic. Elemental, constitutional, cell salts, causative catechates, bionozodes, alchemic remedies, biochemical, dagnabbit. Then I don't know, it's in there somewhere. But when you make a medicine, they got a certain name for when you make a medicine out of a drug that they've made. approving following the homeopathic method was carried out from December to 1963 to 64. So this is a pretty new drug. Homeopathic doctors, the potency was 30C, which concerns, summary was made by Julian, which concerns the toxic consequences of chlorpromazine treatment. Let's see, what's it say it's good for? Allergies, Cushing, diabetes. Anyways, we made a medicine out of Thorazine. And if someone on Thorazine, you could give that to them to wean them off of it and get them, out of that realm. Okay. These are the grounds for thinking. Okay, Okay, let's just go on to it. Because I want to get to gunpowder. There's a lot of interesting readings in there. Liver and gallbladder. So basic, and kidney and pancreas. So you're having organ issues. Guatteria, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, is the one you'd think of. It's right-sided, which is where your liver is, and that. Digestive liver complaints. Lung, scapula. So it goes from the liver to the lungs to the scapula, all right-sided. Better rest, food, small quantities of food. So they can only take a little bit and they're satiated. They're like, okay, I'm good. Worse, warm room, worse movement, worse after meals, worse on the right side of the shoulders, the kidneys, and of course it says the lungs, the scapula, all that whole right side is messed up. And it's all due to the liver, all the organs being a problem, especially the liver. Irresolute. Once one organ starts having a problem, the other ones start having that problem functioning also. The mind is as irresolute. They're not getting off of that idea. Weak memory, sad, obsessional ideas. This is like OCD. They gotta, they're focused on something. They gotta, like, they can't get it out of their mind, and they drive people nuts. I have someone in my life like that now who does that. They see something and it's like an itch on their brain. That guy Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, he's got that. He's got to obsess on things until it's done. Epigastric pain spreads to right hypochondria. Let's see, hypochondria is lower, epigastric's upper. Right kidney spreads to the right hypochondria, right kidney, and base of right lungs. They have distension relieved by belching, so they're burping, they're not farting so much, so it's more upper stuff. Meiosis, which is dilated pupils, and itching. You'd think belladonna would have dilated pupils. They use that to make ladies look beautiful. They put belladonna in their eyes, and the pupils dilate, and it supposedly makes them look beautiful. Meiosis, which is pupil dilation and itching of the eyes, ameliorated by rubbing them. Conjunctival jaundice, which means they have yellow, the whites of their eyes is yellow with photophobia, can't handle the light. Excoriating white leucorrheal discharges in the female. So excoriating is it's, damaging the skin, and it's white. Extreme thirst, anorexia. People don't want to eat, but they want to drink a lot. Nausea, and there's a lot of anorexia medicine. So this is just one of them, Guatteria, which is that guy's name. That's why you wonder, where does some of these names come from? Well, this one's from that guy's name. He discovered it. They gave it, he put his name on it. Nausea, aggravated by hot foods, aggravated by condiments and sweets. So they can't take hot foods, sweets, and I guess condiments are like cakes and stuff. Occipital pain, aggravated in warm room. So the back of the head, they get a pain, worse in a warm room, and by lying down. So lying down, warm room, that doesn't work for them. They need cool, and I guess they got to sit up. Frontal pulsating headache, throbbing, pulsating, sounds like belladonna again. Palpitations in the heart, tachycardia, worse after eating. So they eat and the heart starts palpitating and starts beating faster. And that's got to do with all these organs being messed up, I would imagine. Hematuria, which is blood in the urine. Urine is thick with muddy deposits of calcium oxalates. That's the pancreas not digesting the proteins, and that's coming through, which is uh, so that's why I say there's even the pancreas is involved in this. Urinary urea, liver product. So that urea is the liver's not processing things, right? So you get that urea in the liver, in the urine. Lung infection on the right side. So this is all right-sided stuff. Bronchitis, viral pneumonia, dry cough with blocked right lung. I would even have thought of Guatteria for these lung issues, but yeah, now it's in my repertoire for that. Linked, it would come up if I looked in the repertory and I had lung issues, bronchitis, and that. You'd have a batch of remedies that when you have lung issues, there's a lot of remedies in there. So lung linked with congestion of liver. So it's all, if it's any, and like when you got bronchitis, you got this and that. When did it start? What else is going on? You find out they got that urea in their stuff, or oxalates, or they have blood in the urine. Now you're considering where's that coming from? Is and when you finally, that yellowing and stuff, liver, kidney, whatever, some organs having a problem. And then, like my mentor does, he would use herbs. If you're not on allopathic medicines, he would use herbs to as a tonic. I don't know what I'm trying to think of what liver herbs are liver tonics. I don't, I should have looked that up, but I didn't. But there is tonics for liver and kidneys, and like dandelion is great for kidneys. That would be a tonic for the kidney. So you might want to give a liver tonic, as long as they're not on allopathic medicines, because you can't mix those two. You'll get sick and poison yourself. You can mix allopathic medicine with homeopathic medicine, because there's no substance in the homeopathic medicine. It is a energy medicine, so it doesn't react with it. And aggravated by lying on right side, which is where the liver is. Cough is painful, accompanied by palpitations and tachycardia after eating. So you're looking up all these medicines, and they have this eating aggravates them. Lying on the right side aggravates them. They got this bronchitis enough and stuff. It would bring you to Guatteria. Because what you're doing is, okay, I got bronchitis, I got a cough, so you're looking up cough and that. Now you got to narrow it down. You got to get cough. We got a ton of medicines for bronchitis. We got a bunch. So you need to figure out where this cough's coming from. When did it start? What's the deal? How's your urine? How's your stool? How's your, what's your tongue look like? What's your eyes look like? What makes it feel better? Modalities, rest, small quantities of food. They don't like to eat a lot of food. Warm room, it's worse from. All these things would bring you to different medicines, and Guatteria would be the one with all these symptoms. And there could be a couple others. Tongue is dirty yellow, furred, especially at the root. So the back, it's furred, but there's a lot of yellowing. Yellow eyes, yellow tongue, bad breath, mouth taste bitter, excessive thick salivation. Okay, diarrhea with cramping, colic, or constipation, followed by burning and tenesmus. Tenesmus is they never feel like they're done. They have burning afterwards, undoubtedly, in the anus or rectum. And they have this cramping beforehand. And they can either have diarrhea or constipation. But the stools will be bright green. And I'm pretty sure they said green. I'm trying to think. Yellow, I would think would be the kidney and stuff. Bright yellow. Green would be more the liver. Anyways, there's a correlation to the colors coming out of people, of where it's coming from. Hard liquid, and same thing with the tongue. Hard liquid, mucus, nauseating odor. Okay, so out of the anus, they got this liquidy, mucusy, or hard stool that's not, has a nauseating odor. It just, you smell it, it's like, holy crap, what the heck came out of you? something died in you. Dirty, especially face. Yeah, your liver, your kidney, your pancreas, your gallbladder, all these things are dying on you. Dirty, especially face, colored, discolored pigment of brown spots on the face, forehead, and cheeks. Brown stains under the arms and the back of the hands on the skin. Perspiration stains underwear yellow. There's that yellow again. Lots of yellow here because of the liver stuff. Uh, Worse from eating, and they have vesicular tension disorders. I don't know. I'm not getting into that now. I want to get to gunpowder. Acrid dyspepsia, heartburn, bilious, yellow and green vomiting. There it is, that yellow and green. So when you see all this stuff coming out of both ends, you would consider, hey, there's something going on with these organs. So you would start looking at organ remedies, and there's a lot of them. And you can give, what's it called? Organotherapy, which is you can give. They made medicines out of liver, out of healthy livers, healthy gallbladder, because you only need a little piece of that. You can do they do biopsies on you now. You can do a little biopsy of that thing and make it. It can be, anyways, kidney, that you can do kidney, they got gallbladder medicines, kidney, liver medicines, I forget the names of them, kidney, pancreas. You got all kinds of medicine. You can always give that too. A healthy one will cause the body to rise up and say, oh, what is this? Oh, let's it would fight what I put in, or it would recognize this is what a healthy liver looks like and begin to repair the liver. So just a little side note there. They have yellow-green vomiting, worse hot foods. So they'll vomit when they have them hot foods. Worse from movement, burning in the esophagus. You got burning in the anus, burning in the esophagus. I don't know if there's other burnings. And these things I would consider like arsenicum, aconite has some burning, causticum. But anyways, burning in the esophagus and stomach, aggravated by condiments and sweets. So that's like cakes and sugar. And that's, if you have dyspepsia, heartburn, you might want to cut out a lot of the sweets, because that definitely gives that to you. Vertigo with headaches. So when they have that headache, they get dizzy, and the head feels heavy. Okay, Guatteria. Let's see, chelidonium, which is a yellow plant with yellow stuff coming out of the places. Same side, right, which is located on the right side. Stools are golden yellow. So that's that. Did it say bright yellow? Yeah, bright yellow. So golden yellow, that Guatteria and chelidonium would be the two you'd be considering in that symptomology. China is another medicine, and an extreme abdominal distension, aggravation from loss of fluids with diarrhea. So lots of gas and a lot of distension. You would consider China and Guatteria. Lycopodium and melancholy or sadness, irritable dyspepsia, heartburn, and hepatic disorders, which is the liver. Lycopodium, Guatteria would be all considered there. Lycopodium is aggravated from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's how you would tell between Guatteria and Lycopodium. If its aggravation is between 4 and 8, it's Lycopodium. Otherwise, you may be considering Guatteria. Lactaninum, which is dog's milk. Perspiration stains the underwear yellow. Symptoms move from right to left. So those are the ones you would consider there. All right, let's, you know what, I'm just going to do it this way. Gunpowder, wounds, blood poisoning, herpes facialis, which is facial herpes, any blood problems, septicemia, any of that kind of stuff, and wounds. And you think about it, when they started using this, you get shot, they could use gunpowder for the wounds to, take that gunpowder, put it on that wound to stop infections or, anything like that. They were also using calendula back in Civil War. Gonorrhea, syphilis, boils, carbuncles, and bites. Carbuncles are boils that are connected, lots of boils. So you might have a boil here and there, but carbuncles are boils that are connected. You have bites, any kind of animal bites, you might consider using gunpowder internally, and it can be externally. Gonorrhea and syphilis, they were using it for. So, all right, I'm done with that. That's enough for the board. Let's sit back and relax, have a coffee. I got to get through this, though. There's a lot of good stuff here. Dr. Clark. Do I have his thing right there? Clark. Nope, don't see Clark. Anyways, he made a bunch of books. Dr. Clark, great homeopath, older homeopath, refers to the old-fashioned gunpowder that was in use before the era of high explosive and smokeless powder. Blood poisoning, that's a keynote. Any blood septicemia, infection from wounds, things like that, as you'll see, is a keynote of the first order, along with calendula. Calendula is another one that's good for that. The Norfolk shepherds, who rub gunpowder on the wounds of sheep made in sheep shearing, who take it to cure or prevent ill effects from handling sheep suffering from foot rot, were guided by a sure inspiration. So I don't know how they started using it. They'd shear the sheep, they'd get wounds, they'd put gunpowder on those wounds. They wouldn't have a problem. And if they would get foot rot, I guess it could be transferred to people working with them. They would, it says later, and I'll read it, hopefully, if I get time. It says they would eat it in their sandwich, gunpowder. They would put it on in between, on their sandwich, just because they're handling them sheep that have foot rot, and it could, I guess they can get sick from it. Black gunpowder is a mixture and not a chemical compound, so that's why it's got 3 different substances in it. But for all that, it is a unit and can be used as such in medicines, as it contains 3 potent remedies we use. 2 of them are polycrest. Polycrest means it's good for a lot of different illnesses, injuries, mental, physical, whatever. There's a little wonder at its medicinal powder. Gunpowder is for wounds that refuse to heal or accidents from bad food or bad water. So dysentery, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. This could be one. I was saying arsenicum. Go right for arsenicum from this lettuce poisoning. You could consider gunpowder along with that. Let's see. And I don't think I have gunpowder. I really need to consider getting that. Let's see. Accidents from bad food, gonorrhea, and syphilis it's good for. Gunpowder is a very good homeopathic remedy for acute infections, boils, abscesses, and bites. An antiseptic for bites and gunshot wounds. So you think about it. You're getting shot by a gun. That bullet enters you, maybe you take it out or whatever, but then you put gunpowder in there and it takes care of that wound. That's the whole principle of homeopathy. What'll make you ill will cure you. Blood disorders in general. Nitrate, that's potassium nitrate, yeah, and sulfur and charcoal forms gunpowder. So charcoal is a great disinfectant. They have I don't know if it's called a medicinal charcoal, but you take a teaspoon of that in water and that sucks the poison out of you and gets rid of it. So, but this one has potassium nitrate, which, if I looked it up, potassium nitrate has its own symptoms. Sulfur, of course, has its symptoms, which is a lot of skin stuff. And charcoal will take care of a lot of, you think about you putting water through the charcoal, that purifies your water. Does the same thing inside of you or on a wound or anything like that. So that's why this works. A teaspoon of this in hot water was a favorite remedy for gonorrhea among the soldiers in the days when black powder was used. In the lower triturations, which is the homeopathic medicine, like a 1C, a 1X, gunpowder has cured acerides in adults. That's worms. In London, police force, also know it as a boil remedy. So the police force was using it for boils. Get pennyworth of gunpowder from an oil store and take as much as would lie on a sixpence. That's a coin. Night and morning for 4 days, and then leave off. Then don't take it for 4 more days for the same time, and resume if necessary. In one prescription, which has reached me for current boils from the force. So that's, they were just saying this really works. We got boils. We take that small dose for 4 days, night and day, and then we lay off for 4 days, see what happens. The boil goes away, you're fine. Otherwise, repeat that prescription. Canon Roland Upcher, I guess a doctor homeopath, has related the experience of Norfolk and Suffolk shepherds, that's in London, I think, up in that area, who sprinkle gunpowder on their bread and cheese to cure and prevent infection when handling sheep affected with rot. So now, if they were new homeopathic medicine at that point, you could take it homeopathically to do the same. Canon Upshur, same person, has recently published cases of skin eruptions mistaken for scabies by medical men, but actually produced by handling IV and quickly cured with gunpowder, 3x. So it wasn't scabies, it was I don't know if it wasn't poison ivy in my beginning credits. It said, what did it say? Where is that? Hedera. That's definitely an ivy plant. I don't know which one. I didn't look it up. Doesn't matter. Let's see. So gunpowder for blood poisoning, septic suppuration, blood poisoning from pyorrhea alvaralis, under its curative sphere, protective against wound infection, antidote to ivy and primula rash, herpes fascialis, which is facial herpes, crops of boils, carbuncles, gonorrhea, and osteomyelitis. In some country districts, a decoction of gunpowder is given to children for worms, especially lubrici, chiefly, and with much success. In some experiments made by Clark with gunpowder 2x, severe herpes fascialis involving right eyebrow and right side of nose was developed. So I guess he was doing a proving, and then that produced that on a person. That's why I say when you do a proving, they will prove that thing and get symptoms that you could say, oh, I ever see that in a sick person, I know what to give. Bites, blood poisoning, gonorrhea, gunshots, herpes zoster, it's good for even, vaccination, any, illness from vaccinations, you might want to consider gunpowder. Worms and wounds. Gunpowder was published first in the homeopathic world. There's a homeopathic paper. There was a lot of them. Homeopathy was the big thing in these days, overtaking the allopathic medicine until they put all the money into the allopaths, and then it was, it went dormant. It was still being used by a lot of people because they knew it worked well. The value, and the only reason why is because of money. Look at the money. I mean, I was paying $900 a month just to have insurance in case. Uh, my goodness, that's a lot of money for your paycheck. And then my company was paying, I don't know what. I was paying a portion, they were paying a portion. So yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, we were older, but still, that was a lot of money. And now they just took away the help they were getting from the uh, Care Act, and now it's even more expensive. Um, London in 1914, Clark put in the homeopathic world the value of gunpowder as a remedy for all kinds of blood poisoning, and as sepsis from septic wounds, ptomaine poisoning, poisoning from meats, and have been unsuccessfully tinned. They canned the meat and it wasn't done right, and the person got poisoned from it. Also, various kinds of preventative inoculations are likely to be rife among our soldiers. It was well that they should have the benefit of a remedy as potent as it is appropriate. So they would just take it as a preventative for different diseases and sicknesses, septicemia and all that. Clark has confirmed the proving by curing shingles with gunpowder. So that's how they knew it was good for shingles, not from the proving. He heard of a case of lumbrici, which is worms, cured with an infusion of gunpowder, told by the patient, which happened some 60 years ago. Okay, a lady who had a very sensitive skin was bitten by a gnat on the foot, resulting in swelling, inflammation, suppuration. So pus is coming out of this thing and it's swelled up and inflamed. There was a ring of inflammation around the bite. So that ring sounds like a tick. That's what it sounds like. They said a gnat, that sounds like a tick when you get that bullseye. There was a ring around it, a ring of inflation. So maybe gunpowder is good for, I never thought of that, for tick bites, constantly spreading and detaching the epidermis as it spread. After the failure of several remedies, he gave a bunch, 7 remedies or more. He was like, man, he gave gunpowder 3x and it rapidly cured. So that's why I say, even Clark, even if you're a great homeopath, sometimes it can be tricky which medicine to use. So you're really, you just have to try some things and see what happens. That's what I'm doing with my dog. His leg's injured. He's barely putting pressure on it. I don't know if it's a bone, a joint, um, ligament, a tendon, something twisted. I gave him Ruta. I gave him Rust Tox. I gave him Arnica. So now I'm on Symphytum. If it is a broken bone, that'll knit it together, or a fractured bone. That'll help to knit it together. So we're going to see. A gentleman had a bad cut with a knife. Now, it could be I need to take him in, have an x-ray. Oh, yep, it is. And what if it is fractured and it's not broke, because he still was putting, yesterday my wife come home, he ran down the steps. Otherwise he just kind of walks and doesn't want to move. So yeah, you just try some medicines. You're trying to figure out. I can go get an x-ray. Well, what they say, they'll say, oh yeah, you got a fracture. They'll wrap it, stay off of it. That's what I'm doing now. I'm wrapping it, staying off of it, and giving them a homeopathic remedy. A lady was severely poisoned by sewer gas, probably sulfur. That's usually what comes out of them sewers. They're following swelling of the right arm and axillary gland of the right side. When she consulted me 3 months after the accident, the right arm was almost fixed at the elbow joint with swelling, so he couldn't move it. It threatened suppuration, pus coming out. Above and below, the axillary glands were as large as hen eggs. So these glands were so swollen. Auxiliary is pretty sure in the jaw or the face, up in that area. The axillary glands are large as hen eggs. Gunpowder 3x gradually resolved the trouble, and though the cure was interrupted by an attack of measles. So measles came on, he had to take care of the measles. So you stop the treatment, you go to morbillinum or whatever medicine for the measles, get through that. The mortality of the arm was fully restored by the gunpowder afterwards. Canon Upshur finds that occasional doses of heparin highly increased its effects. So he's given heparin at the same time. Or I mean, when they gave heparin, that would what do you want to say? Heparin is good for a lot of yellow stuff. Basically, when you think of yellow, you're thinking heparin. You're thinking of, what the heck was that other one? Uh, Anyways, yellow, yellow, yellow. It's up here. Where is it? Oh, chelidonium, even lycopodium, and I didn't think of caninum. So caninum. So, anyways, heparin would increase the effects of the gunpowder. Thuja, silica, bar C, baridocarb, and septic tonsils. When the tonsils have a septic condition. And calendula, as I said, externally is also complementary. So you're using gunpowder for any infections and things, wounds or whatever. I always just shoot right for calendula. Calendula, I did that with my kid. He had a cut. He slid into a base, a railroad spike, ripped his leg open. It was about that deep, that long. Took him in, grabbed him, ran him to my car, took him to the emergency room. They sewed it shut. It got infected. They had to cut it open. I don't know. I forget what they call that they use. Anyways, they put something on it, put gauze in there, and they said, you got to change this. I'm like, okay. My kid didn't like it. I said, okay, you ready? Oh, no, not again. I'd hurry up and rip that thing out. I'd get calendula and put it on that gauze and put it back in and then bandage it. And when I took them back a week later, they wanted to see it because it was had been infected. When I took them back, they said, "Oh my goodness, I don't know what you're." These were two pretty doctors too. I was surprised. These ladies were very beautiful doctors. I took them back, and they said, "I don't know what you're doing, but it's healing amazingly well." I I didn't tell them. I should have told them I'm using calendula. That might have helped them in a go a different realm, but usually they just, oh yeah, sure, just like my dad. He's becoming, he's speaking, he's up and around, and they keep sending people. Is he okay? They want to, they might want to get him into a home or get him on more drugs or whatever. But he's doing great. His talk is starting to come, but it's not there. It's still a lot of gibberish. But you hear a word every once in a while, and then you know what he's talking about. So, and that's all from Bothrops, which is for aphasia, arnica for the injury to the head from the stroke, and yeah. But he's 91. He's very thin right now, and before the stroke, he was up doing he's getting around pretty good and real healthy, but that stroke just took him down. So I keep dosing him with arnica. I keep dosing him. I might go to some other medicines to like silica and that for his nutritive powers. And my mom's got a little dementia. She knows she's not able to remember things, and I'm working on her with a few medicines. I don't know. It can be tough because when you can't ask a question and you can't figure out what's going on, and you can't say, here, you got to take this medicine because they don't believe in it. They're like, don't be giving me nothing. So when you can't do that and you're slipping it into their water, and it's, you got to just go by observation, what's going on. And that's what we do anyways. We just observe. And the better you get at observing what's going on with somebody, like my dog or whatever, the better you get at being able to prescribe, because you see little characteristics, whether it's the tongue, the eyes, the condition, whatever's going on there. You start observing what's going on, and then it reminds you of medicines. So then you start trying some medicines until you hit the right one, and you just got to take your time sometimes. So that is morning medicine. You can age, but you don't have to get old. Depends on how you treat yourself, what you eat, your movement, and your stress level. So be kind to yourself so you can be kind to others.